Hello, Booktube. This is Aaron from Aaron Read a Book or Aaron Read a Book. I've been struggling with tags a little bit recently. Sometimes I'm just not in the mood to do them. But I thought what might get me out of the slump is making a tag. I've made one tag before, and this is quite similar in that it's just one where you name some books and talk about them. You don't have to question your life unless you want to. And I thought I'd base it around Booktube and Booktubers because there's loads of sort of great Booktube channel names out there. So I thought I'd take some channels that I watch and really like and to turn them into prompts. So these are just a bunch of Booktubers I like. Obviously, there's loads of others that I love, but you just had boring names, so you didn't make the tag. Sorry. And I include myself in that. So the first prompt is books I'm not reading. Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading is the person who convinced me to make a channel, so she's made the tag. And for this prompt, it is a book that you're not reading, a book that's been on your TBR forever. And I've gone with the Iliad by Homer. Just because it feels like I read, not the Iliad, sorry, the Odyssey. It's because I read the Iliad ages ago, and I feel like I should have read this one straight away after, but it's just been sat on my shelf for ages in this lovely Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition. So yeah, if you're a big fan of the Odyssey, let me know in the comments, especially if you prefer it over the Iliad. I think most people prefer the Iliad. Prompt number 2 is novel iDeea, which is Deer. And this is, for this prompt, a book with an interesting premise or plot device, a novel idea. And for this one, I've gone with, this could be a lot of science fiction ones, but I actually found this quite hard to pick a book for. So because every book is kind of based on something else or stolen an idea somewhere or other. But this one I found really interesting as an idea. Tau Zero by Paul Anderson. This is about a ship that their deceleration drive or whatever helps them decelerate breaks, and basically they're getting faster and faster and faster until they're going to reach Tau Zero, which is sort of the speed of light. So the book deals with like time changing for the people on board, so they know that minutes are becoming years, and everyone they've ever known is going to be dead, and eventually they're going to be like millions of years in the future because of relativity. But it's a really interesting premise. I would say Power Anderson's not the greatest sort of characterization and stuff with like a lot of hard sci-fi, but an interesting idea nonetheless. Number 3, prompt number 3, I'm going to go with Revenant Reads, Vin. And this one is a book where someone has returned from the dead. So it could be a zombie, a ghost, lots of horrors will fit here. And I've not gone with a zombie or a ghost. I'm going with Solaris by Stanislav Lem, and I guess it's kind of a ghost. This is another kind of weird science fiction book where there's a great film with this as well by Andrei Tarkovsky, and also this, for some reason I've got the edition with George Clooney on, which actually I thought was quite a good film as well. But the book is about a spaceship on a planet, and this guy is a psychologist who's sent there to sort of, because all the people on board are having weird hallucinations and are struggling. So it's in this planet's affecting the ship in some way, and he goes and he starts seeing hallucinations as well, and he's kind of haunted by what is seemingly his dead wife has come back to life. So Great novel. Stanisław M. I really need to read more of him because he's a very interesting Polish writer. Where did I get to? Number 4. Number 4, we're going to go with CriminOlly, and this is an easy one. It's a book where a crime takes place, so it could be a mystery or basically any book that CriminOlly reads. But I'm going to not go with a horror or mystery or anything like that. I'm going to go with True Grit by Charles Portis, another movie cover. This one, there's the whole beginning of this novel, a crime has taken place because we're following Mattie Ross as I think she's 13 or 14 years old, and her father has been shot in the back by a dastardly man and she basically sets out to catch him and bring him to justice, and she wants to hire the ranger with true grit, and the person she picks is Rooster Cogburn. And this is I think become one of my favourite books ever, and it's just a perfect little novel, Western novel, brilliant dialogue in it. Highly recommend. But yeah, it all kicks off with a crime. Number 5, we're going Book Time with Elvis, Mark's channel, and this is a book about. This can be a book about time, like time travel or something like that, or a book about someone named Elvis. And the only Elvises I know are Costello and Presley, so you could pick a biography of one of those, but I'm sure there's many other Elvises. Maybe the character's named Elvis. I'm going to go with How to Stop Time. I'm going with Time instead. Matt Haig, and this is I wasn't really expecting much from this book because I know Matt Haig's more known for his kind of sort of, I don't think they're self-help books, but kind of like books about depression and dealing with depression. But this is a little science fiction he wrote, and I really enjoyed it. And it's about a man who's been alive for like 500 years or 600 years, and he's sort of trying to keep it secret. And there's a strange society for people like him that kind of is messing with him as well. I want to reread this, but I remember absolutely loving it, and I love books about that play with being alive forever and stuff. It's kind of a bit like that film, what's it called? No, it's gone. But yeah, I like this one. And we're going number 6, Middle of the Book March. Kim's got a great channel. I was thinking it could be about something to do with middle, but I've gone with your favourite book you read in March because we have about 8 million Booktube events in March, so you often end up reading new and interesting things. I don't have a copy of this one, but it is. I'll put it up here, and that's my favourite book I read in March was the Blue Book of Nebo by Manon Stefan Ross. And I've talked about this quite a lot recently because I put it in my science fiction for newbies sort of video as well. It's just a quite simple book about a boy and his mother in the post-apocalypse, and they're in rural Wales, and it was originally a Welsh language book, and it's told in like diary form where the boy writes in the diary and then the mum writes in the diary. But it's about lots of things about how coming to terms with being like 2 of the last people left alive and stuff like that. But it's brilliantly and poignantly done. Little novel, I highly recommend. Number 7, we're going the Book Buds. They're a channel of 2 friends, and they're so the prompt for this one is going to be a book with a great friendship in it. And I'm going to go with 24 books, I think, with a great friendship in it, and that is Patrick O'Brien's Master and Commander, which is the first in the Aubrey and Maturin series. And this is a book about a friendship between a ship's captain and a ship's doctor. Stephen Maturin is the doctor, and he is also a spy. And this is set in the Napoleonic Wars. They play music together. But yeah, these are just a brilliant series of novels. I would say the first one can be a bit daunting because it's so many naval terms and stuff. But once you learn to kind of realise you don't really need to know anything about that, they're really just great adventure books with a great friendship at the heart of it. And I think especially the second one is what got me hooked, because I read this twice before I moved on to the second one. But yeah, Post Captain's the second one, and that's a bit more silly, and but generally it's probably my favourite book series ever. So high recommend, especially if you like adventure novels and Jane Austen. Where are we? Number 8, Obscure Book Adventures. This is Annie's channel, and this is an obscure book, a book that never gets talked about on Booktube, but you love it. And this book does get talked about a lot on Booktube, but every single time it is by me, and that is The Light Years by Elizabeth Jane Howard, which is the first book in the Cazalet Chronicles, which I'm not going to talk about too much because I do rabbit on about it. But yeah, it's a story about a big family sort of saga. 5 books, starts in between World War One and World War Two. Some of the characters are affected by World War One, and then eventually, as the books go on, some of the characters are affected by World War Two. But they're a family of timber magnates. Magnates? That sounds really weird. Magnates? No, I don't know what they call it. They cut down and sell timber. But yeah, it's brilliant series. One of my favourite ever series as well. Number 9, we're going Savage Reads, and this is Hannah's channel. A book with a monster or a beast, or you could go with a human acting monstrously or beastly. And I'm gonna steal the most obvious one and the best one, and that is The Hound of the Baskervilles by Arthur Conan Doyle, one of the novels of Sherlock Holmes. This is my Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition. Yeah, there's a giant beastly hound on the moors that's been killing people, or is there? You have to read the book to find out. But yeah, Sherlock Holmes is obviously brilliant. And number 10, final question. A book that fits your own channel name or the name of a channel that you love. So if your Booktube name is Aaron Read Book like mine, it's quite hard to find a book that has something to do with that. But if your name is something that you could do, then just do your own name. I couldn't think of anything. The only book I know with Aaron in the title is Aaron's Rod by D.H. Lawrence, and I've not read it, and it sounds kind of naughty to me, but I know it's something from the Bible, but Aaron's Rod is kind of a funny thing to say in the UK. But yeah, that's my Booktuber name tag. Booktuber's name tag. Booktuber name tag. I'm going to tag everyone who's got a question written after them, and you can tag whoever you want. Have a good one, Booktube.